Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer, so let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Good afternoon. Hey.
Hi.
Hey, who?
You're asking me to introduce myself? Is that what
No.
you're saying? Because you
No.
said, hey, who?
I know. I don't know why I said that.
It implied either who are you or do my job for me and tell the audience who you are.
Do you feel like that whatever you think my intent is the truth?
I think people's intents are usually very good.
Really?
I do. I think most people are not ill-intended. They just do dumb things.
Right. Oh, that's a good way to look at life.
It makes it better.
Yeah, because it couldn't get any worse. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kill Me Now. This is a very special episode of Kill Me Now. What, Patrick? Oh, right. You have to get the bell. Patrick has to get the bell. Patrick's here. Hennessy's not here. He's in his disappearing mode. Listen, the bell comes. I have a bell that I hit ring anytime anything remotely Jewish is mentioned. So,
Is the bell comes? Was that the sequel to the bell jar?
yes, the bell jar. I took the bell out of the jar right after I committed suicide. That is the most depressing book, is it not?
Oh, I never read it. I just know it exists. I've never read it.
You've never read the bell jar? Well, you're not
I'm
a
not
lesbian.
a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah. Anyway, if you recognize that voice, then you are pretty special because all right, he's an actor, screenwriter.
That's another way of saying he's obscure.
He is so not obscure.
He's obscure. If you
See,
recognize
again,
the
my
voice.
intent. You're right. How's that? You fucks. He's an actor, screenwriter, author, host, comedian, poet, and podcaster. Ladies and gentlemen, the unbelievably talented. You are so fucking talented.
I really am.
And has no ego. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Ian Black! Yay! Woo!
Wait. So it was explained to me very recently that the bell is when something very Jewish happens.
Right, I know, but you
rang the bell multiple times. Now, I am Jewish.
Right. I just did it for all your ancestors.
Well, I need to get the rules straight here.
Okay.
Is the bell... Oh, I felt like the bell was really introductory and celebratory in that moment. And really had nothing to do with my Judaism.
I'm going to say that you're right on that. But then I thought, I'll kill two birds with one stone. But he's a Jew and an atheist, a Jew. Anyway, okay, first of all, I want to begin with my Kill Me Now moment of today. This has probably never happened to you, but I got, you know how you have to check in here at cbs.shit, play.shit. And the two women behind the desk, I love them. They're like, and they're always like, Judy, what's up? Right. So I walk in, they're like, Judy, oh my God, I love you. And then there were like people online. And then she's printing out my pass and she says to one of the people online, oh my God, she's the best comedian ever. Oh my God, she's so funny. She's the best comedian. And these two women online say, really? What's your name? And I wanted to kill myself.
So what you're saying, when introducing the story, what you said was, this probably never happens to you.
Right.
People never say to you, Michael, you're the best comedian in the world.
That's not the part.
We love you.
No, but have
Michael.
you ever had people like say,
constantly.
Wait, do you have people come up to you and go, well, like I was in Provincetown. I have a house in Provincetown.
We get it. You're gay.
What?
We get it. You're gay.
I haven't come out of the closet. So, and these young kids, so my friend's like, oh, she's whatever. Oh my God. So like, where do you work? Like, do you work in New York? Where do you work? And I'm just like.
Well, the idea of having to list your resume or justify or defend yourself in any way, shape, or form is maybe my biggest pet peeve in the world.
That
and
is a kill me now.
I don't play that game. I do not play that game at all. So
what do you say when people say, which is probably very rare?
It's often. Are you kidding?
No, look at you. You're in everything.
Jude. No, I don't think anybody. First of all, you are as well known or better known than I am.
Not.
Second of all, I don't think. I think unless you're just at Tom Cruise levels,
right?
I don't think anybody escapes that.
But
it was at all in the public eye.
It's also this no boundary situation where people think if you're a performer or a writer or what. They can say whatever the fuck they want.
Yes.
To you.
Yes.
Especially if, and that happens even when they know who you are.
But they don't think they're being rude when they're saying, what have you done?
Right.
Who are you?
Right.
They don't think they're being rude.
Right. And it's the rudest. Do you tell, like, your doctor, like...
What I've started doing is just, I have a T-shirt. In the front of my T-shirt is my headshot, and the back of my T-shirt is my credits.
Can you fit all your credits on the back of the T-shirt, Michael? I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of Michael in black shorts.
It's the worst. I hate it. And I don't, homie, don't play that.
All right. Well, you're lucky.
If you say to me, for example, what have I seen you on? I say, I don't know. And then I end the conversation.
Right. That's a good one.
Or if you say, were you on, and then just name anything, right. I say yes.
That's a good one, because you were so good on Curb. I'm like, I've never been on Curb.
No, the correct response to that is, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, I'm doing that from now on.
Yeah, because it ends the conversation in the quickest way possible, and it leaves them feeling good. You don't want to leave.
God, you're such a good soul.
I've thought about how to deal with this.
Right.
Because I used to get, and still get sometimes, I Loved You in Kids in the Hall, a show I was never on.
Right.
In fact, I would get it far more than anything I've actually been on.
But who do they think you are?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think I look like an amalgam of effeminate Canadians.
Right.
And so they just go, Kids in the Hall. So when that happens, I just say thank you.
Right.
Or I loved you on Mad TV.
Right. Thank you.
And that ends the conversation.
But when you're mistaken for Lisa Lampanelli, would you take a fucking ice pick and shove it up your ass?
I'm going to ask something, and this might be rude.
Right. Okay, go.
Are you not Lisa Lampanelli? Do you and Lisa have a thing?
No, it's just that
you get mixed for each other for whatever reason.
It's Lisa, it's Susie. I mean, it's any loud or ethnic, Jewy, non-Italian, anything. It's like we're all the same.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, I've read extensively about you. And
when you say extensively, 10 minutes of research?
No, not at all. Ask Patrick. Do I do a lot of
She does do a lot of research.
I'm gonna.
She knows
Patrick.
everything.
All right.
Good.
Let's see.
We have a lot in common.
All right.
I'm from New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey.
You grew up. You were born in Chicago,
right.
and then you went Hillsborough, which I know because I know.
Yeah.
I grew up in Clark,
New
Jersey. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, vaguely. Ugh. Yeah, the same.
Horrible.
Everything's terrible.
But I went to Rutgers. You went to Tisch.
Right.
So, you have such an interesting. I feel like you are probably so emotionally
dead. Correct.
Yes, dead, and that's why I want you. No, I feel like you have been through so many interesting hurdles and struggles. What the fuck? Shut the fuck up.
No more than anybody.
No, but they're.
I'm 45 years old. I've lived the life of a person who's 45 years old.
No, you don't. No, your father died when you were 12.
Yeah.
Your parents divorced when you were, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
You have a Down syndrome sister.
Yeah.
Your mother's a lesbian.
Yeah, she died 2 months ago.
Oh,
and you're
I'm
not,
so
and
sorry.
You're not even, the research you did, none, apparently.
I looked up
none.
everywhere to see if she had still been alive. I swear to God, there is nothing, because she had cancer. Died. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
My mother just passed away,
I'm
too.
sorry. Sad
it's a big thing when you're an orphan.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of it in those terms exactly. Right. Maybe because my dad died when I was so young. Yeah, but it definitely it definitely uncorked a lot of things for me.
And I thank God every day I have children, because people lose their parents and have no children. I think it's harder for them.
Might be.
All right. Anyway, back to Hillsborough, New Jersey.
Yeah. Fun stuff. No, fun stuff.
Yeah, this is all great. It's a comedy podcast. Hey, guys. Dead parents. So you shared a room with your sister.
No.
I swear to God. What do you mean no?
No.
Never.
No. Oh, I take that back. Yes. When I was very young, right after my parents split up and we were living with my mom's lover,
Elaine. Well, that's not a real name.
Right. The fictional name, Elaine.
Right.
Yes, I did briefly share a room with my sister. Yes, that is correct. But I grew up mostly sharing a room with my brother. And her son. So there were 3 boys in the room.
So it was like the Leslie Brady bunch.
Yeah.
Did you like her son, or do you like her son? Judy, don't ask me about that.
No, it was a difficult familial situation. And it was a complicated relationship. Not so much because of him, but because of her.
Right.
And the barriers that were created between her and us, and then her relationship with her son was complicated. It was all just a disaster.
Right. Did you ever go to family therapy?
No.
Really?
Family
I figure
therapy.
a Leslie mom would want to go to family therapy.
No.
We went to family therapy.
Oh God, I wouldn't have gone.
Really?
Oh no chance. I wouldn't. I would have sat there, stone-faced and sullen. There's not a chance I would have said anything to a therapist. I've since gone to therapy with my wife.
Right. She's hot, by the way.
Yeah.
She's really hot.
Yeah.
And tall and beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I take no credit for it.
All right, good.
I'm not going to say thank you. I didn't do it.
What have I seen you on? I've seen you on...
Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, that's right. So, you have this Down syndrome sister, and they are the most angel-loving people. I mean, they have no evil, the Down syndrome.
No.
Like, the president could learn a little bit.
Well, are we sure the president doesn't have a touch of Down syndrome?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I can make the jokes.
I hate him so much. So was your mother out? Because when I was reading about your growing up in Hillsborough, and you describe, especially like in the naval book. Naval
gazing.
Navel gazing. Called. The navel. I'm being Jewish. The navel book. The book you wrote about your navel and your body.
That one.
Yeah, the one about getting older and you don't like your butt. Anyway, so the way you describe these sports obsessed
meatheads.
Yeah, that is exactly how I grew up. Like Chris Christie is the epitome of what gets glorified in New Jersey, in suburban New Jersey. Like, welcome to the dollhouse. People are like, what was your childhood like? I'm like, welcome to the dollhouse.
Well, what's interesting to me is how this idea nationally now, that Donald Trump is a New Yorker, or that like Scaramucci is a New Yorker,
right,
is so repellent to me, because they're not New Yorkers.
No.
What they are is bridge and tunnel. So they're specifically people from New Jersey or Long Island,
yes,
or just these outer borough creeps.
Staten Island.
These creeps who have this idea of what it means to be cosmopolitan,
or a man.
Right. Well, that's the deeper
big,
thing.
Yeah.
And to them, it involves bullying and hair gel and not much else.
Right.
And that's what I feel like I grew up with.
Or hairspray.
It wasn't quite as cartoonish as these guys, as these lunkheads, but wasn't that far from it. And Chris Christie's kind of the soft porn version of Scaramucci, for example.
It's just so funny because they're so unattractive. They're so rude. There's nothing classy about them. Not one. There's like, you look at the Obamas. Two of the classiest people ever to inhabit the White House. The dump, we know as the White House.
The dump, yeah.
The dump. So, it's these guys. Like, I think that's why I get so fucking pissed off. Like that Chris Christie sitting on the beach, that fat fuck sitting there with his family. Like, that's so some asshole football player. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's a quote.
Verbatim.
That's a quote. Yeah.
But you had a lot of female friends.
Yeah, because
who are you gonna fucking talk to?
Exactly.
And then also, was your mother out to, was it? Because
they weren't out exactly.
Right.
They lived this absurd masquerade that they were sisters.
No fucking way.
But they didn't like.
Did they look alike?
Oh my God, no! They didn't look anything alike.
Oh, because the lesbians are looking like each other.
No, they did not look alike. They didn't. They weren't like selling it hard that they were sisters, and I think they would have preferred to be out. But this was the early to mid to late 1980s, and they just weren't. I don't think they felt comfortable or confident enough to do that.
Perhaps if you were living in a cosmopolitan area.
Perhaps. I mean, I would say probably.
Right. Because, the other thing about... Did I cut you off?
No.
All right. The other thing about...
Yeah, but whatever.
Good night, folks. Was this notion of these people in suburban New Jersey who live a half-hour train ride, 45-minute train ride from New York. I'm not going to this. I don't go to the city.
Right. Nobody goes.
Yeah.
Nobody goes. You would go once a year in school to go see a chorus line.
Right.
Maybe the Museum of Natural History. But for the most part, people didn't go. I used to go in every weekend.
Yes.
Every weekend I would take the train in and wander around the city by myself, which amazes me that my mother let me do that because she was fairly protective. But I started going in when I was 15 and pretty much went in every weekend.
Right.
And knew that I was going to end up here.
Right.
There was no question in my mind. That's why I went to NYU.
Right.
I knew I was going to NYU. I knew I was going to live in New York.
That you were out and out of. I mean, out.
Come on. I mean,
out of New Jersey.
Don't do that, Judy.
I'm sorry,
don't make everyone a homo.
Once.
Don't make everyone a homo.
My mother grew up in Manhattan, so I was lucky, and I had relatives here, so we used to come in a lot. But it is this: you live so close to the greatest city in the entire world, and yet. It's dirty. It's so goddamn dirty.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
So I'm just so fascinated by this. I mean, because I'm a lesbian with children, with two sons who are so straight, who I've never said, can you... If you're gay,
can you
please.
Suck a little
dick?
Yeah. Can you suck a little dick?
I mean, I've
for
said
mom?
to them, could you just try to act like you're interested in, when I ask you a question about what I'm wearing or something, But they're just like how a lesbian, a gay parent could sort of not force this sexuality or, I just want my kids to be happy. Like, I don't care what they are.
Right.
But it seemed like they were like, Michael... I know you have a lot of girlfriends.
Yes. My mom and Elaine sat me down when I was 13, 14, whatever it is. And basically outed me.
Right.
Basically said, we know you're gay and it's fine. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? But the interesting thing about it, which I realized later, having spoken to my mother about it, was that she was doing it almost out of a place of homophobia.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Because they're not even out. And they're saying, just want you to know, it's okay if you're gay. I mean, I would have said, well, why aren't you fucking out of the closet, sister, sister?
She didn't want, her thing was, and again, I subsequently talked about this with her. She said, first of all, we thought you were gay. And compared to the other kids who were, running around, those guys, it didn't surprise me that they thought that.
Right,
in
of
a
course.
Way. But she was coming at it from a point of view of, I hope you're not gay, because I don't want your life to be any harder than it's already going to be. And because the AIDS crisis was in full bloom.
It was so awful. It was so awful.
And so she was coming at it from a place of, I'm sorry you're gay, but I'm going to love you anyway, even though I'm gay.
I'm gay. This is my sister of Sappho. My sister of Sappho.
My sister and I want you to know. My sister and I.
Can you come down? Michael, my sister and I need to speak to you about something. Can you come downstairs?
It was so infuriating to me, because if there was the only thing I knew about myself was that I was straight. That's pretty much all I knew about myself. Was that I liked boobs and girls and wanted to touch them as soon as possible.
Was your father... my father was sort of a Renaissance kind of guy. Like, he loved opera and he gardened.
He was gay.
Right. So my father was gay. My girlfriend says that all the time. Do you think your father was gay? I'm like, no, he wasn't gay. But he was one of those gentlemen, that we don't see anymore. Except if you're Michael Ian.
Oh, yeah. Clearly.
Was your father, I mean, you had him for 12 years, but you weren't that, you didn't see him that often. But what, as a male role model, was he a masculine kind of guy?
No. No. He was very shy. Mm-hmm. Kept to himself.
Right.
Was interested in nerdy stuff, like computers. Like he bought the first, it was called the TRS-80, which was the first like commercially available computer that you could buy at Radio Shack.
Right.
He was into like ham radio.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he was a full-on like nerdy guy.
Yeah.
And he didn't know how to deal with kids.
Ham radio's not kosher. Good night, folks. Well, my father loved brisket radio. Good night, folks. Take care. I know it's so bad.
I'm gonna walk out.
All right, sorry.
I'm gonna schlep out. He did not know how to deal with children very well.
Right.
He was not cold, not mean, not aloof exactly. Just didn't really know how to communicate. A little bit. Just didn't really know how to communicate with kids.
Right.
And so when he died, I was just getting to the age where we could kind of hang out and talk a little bit. But was he a good male role model? It depends what you mean.
Right.
It's only in later years that I really started grappling with the question of what does it mean to be a man?
Right.
And it's a question that I feel like the culture in general is grappling with, but hasn't learned how to have that conversation yet.
Right.
There's no dialogue that exists in a healthy way around that question.
Right.
And there needs to be desperately.
I totally agree. And I think on both ends of the spectrum, on the gay male end of the spectrum, as well as the Kinsey scale. I think on both ends of the Kinsey scale, we're at a loss here.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about sexuality.
No, I know.
Like literally gender. And because my mom and Elaine were so kind of
were they
were wrapped up in the feminist movement,
right?
Pretty strongly from my earliest memories.
Did they shave their armpits?
They did.
Okay.
They shaved each other's armpits, which I thought was weird.
Gross. Michael, my sister and I need you to help with the razor.
God, stop.
Go ahead.
Stop.
Sorry.
I grossed myself out, and then you took it a step further,
I'm sorry.
which I applaud.
Yeah, thank you.
Which I applaud.
Thank you.
They were so wrapped up in that they didn't realize, and I feel like culturally we didn't realize that movement, the women's movement, as needed as it was, and the idea of women's liberation, the idea of women being able to do anything,
right,
did not extend to men. And maybe it couldn't because it had to define itself by what it was.
Right.
But the implication, the next step in that journey is men also can be anything they want.
Right.
And that doesn't, and obviously that doesn't mean in terms of career necessarily.
No.
But it does mean in terms of self-expression and how you behave and move through the world.
Right.
It's a conversation that never happened.
Right.
And it's the necessary next conversation. I think it's going to start. It's already starting to happen.
Do you think that's the reason that we
that I'm sitting like this? Like a little foal that's just been born.
I love it. Do you think that's why there's so much misogyny? Is because men are so unaware of, how to be real men that they're so threatened by women wanting.
But even the idea of real man, I think, is a very loaded term.
Right, of
because
course.
it implies the same. It's like saying real American. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
By definition.
I think you know what that means, Michael. Born here, white.
Kid Rock.
Oh my God! I can't. Don't even.
He's gonna win too. He's gonna win.
Like Jesse Ventura.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course he's gonna win.
I'm gonna kill myself right now.
The idea of being a real man.
Right.
If you got a dick and some balls.
Right.
You were born with those things.
Right.
You're a real man. And then if you want to transition, you can be a real man that way too.
Right.
But the idea of just knowing, I do think that's why there's so much misogyny. Not that there wasn't before the women's movement, but the awareness of it and the consequences of it. And part of it, I think, has to do with men's frustration about literally not understanding how to interact with the other gender.
I agree.
Just literally not understanding the rules of the road, not understanding what is just how to have a normal conversation with a person who has nipples that get erect.
Right. Now, speaking of which, could you have a sweater? So,
I'll also need a sweater for my lap.
It's...
And you looked to see.
I did not.
Your eyes went right to my dick.
It did not.
And they just went there
I don't
again.
even know what a dick looks like. You know what's so interesting that you're talking, because you're so evolved. And I said because my kids are like, they're boys.
How
whatever.
old are they?
One's going to be 21, one's going to be 16.
Okay.
And I said, and the 21-year-old is just girl crazy. I mean, he's always got a girlfriend. He's like, but I said, and he has girlfriend. Like, he's a straight guy
who has friends
with friends who are like, she's like my best friend. Like he. So I said to one of the girlfriends, I said, is he different than all? Because he's in a frat, and it's all like hot chicks and this and that. And she's hot. He's always saying, oh, she's hot.
She probably is hot.
Right. No, but it's like, I'm like, why don't you date so-and-so? She's not hot. I'm like, what the fuck? So, I said to her,
wait. Now I have to know. What is he like? Like, what's his type?
Okay, it's so ridiculous. I mean, you see me, okay?
Right.
He likes blonde hair, big tits, and Jewish.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
That's a very small pool that he's swimming in.
It's a small pool. Thank God for L'Oreal number 2. So I said to her, is he different? Because he's so, like, some of the things that come out of his mouth, like, where the fuck did you learn that?
In a good way or a bad way?
In the guy kind of way, but I could call him on it, And so I said, is he, and she said, the only difference is he knows how to talk to girls. Like, he knows how to have a conversation.
Right.
I also really think that he never thinks a woman can't do this or a woman can't be his boss or, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like people like you that are going to change the world. But we have this fucking piece of shit in office.
Yeah. And it would be interesting to know.
Yeah, I said piece of shit.
To what degree is that, like, take Hillary out of the equation for a second.
Right.
Like, let's say he was just running against a dude.
Right.
Some.
Not even Hillary as a dude.
Right. Just some.
Hillary as a dude would have been it. But go ahead.
But to what degree does misogyny, sort of inbred misogyny, and the kind of reactionary culture that he represents.
Right.
To what degree did that inform his win, taking Hillary entirely out of the conversation? I'd be curious to know. And what's also interesting is the amount of white women who supported him.
Oh my God, it's mind-boggling.
I don't find it mind-boggling. I don't find it mind-boggling at all. I find it in the
troubling.
in the same way that he reinforces these male stereotypes, he's reinforcing female stereotypes. It's easy in a way. It's easy for women to be like, I get that.
Right. And this is my place.
Yeah, there's some comfort in that. There's some comfort food in that. Even though, the guy's slapping the shit out of you, you go back to him because it's comfortable. You know that.
Familiar.
Yeah.
It's familiar. It's like what I always say about like people who are like really religious, who they don't want to think. They want some book or some guy to tell them what they're supposed to say, how they're supposed to behave, what their opinions are.
Right.
That's also these I'm a woman, because and yet you can't wear a fucking sleeveless dress. I mean, like, what the fuck? Sorry, I got off.
No, I liked the spittle flying out of your mouth. I liked the consternation.
Mm-hmm.
I liked all of it. Was it a little broad? Sure, it was a little broad for Mike. I'd like you to tone it down just a little bit.
Sorry.
No, wait, look, we're going to keep rolling.
Okay, so you
in my mind there, I don't know if you understand this, I was a director on the set of our TV show, and I was giving you a note. It wasn't so much that we were going to keep rolling in the podcast. In my mind, I was on the set of your Showtime show, and I was saying I loved all of it. Let's do another take.
Do it down.
Let's just bring it down like 10%.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm ready. Michael!
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
So you dropped out of Tisch. What'd your family say when you dropped? I'm like, I can't. Like, if I dropped out of college, I think my parents would.
Well, keep in mind, I was an acting major, so like, what was I giving up?
Right.
My mom.
How long were you there?
I had started my third year.
Okay.
My mom promised me that I would go back. I mean, made me promise that I would go back. And I said, absolutely.
Right.
Fully intending to go back.
Right.
No, I did not go back. Of course I didn't go back. Because I realized, why would I need an acting degree nobody's going to check?
Right.
When I'm going to audition, and they say, where'd you go to school? And I go to NYU. And then they'll say, and nobody has ever said.
Oh, did you graduate?
Exactly.
Can you check if he graduated?
We're going to need to see the diploma before we give you the chewing gum commercial.
Right.
No, it doesn't work like that.
So what was your first out of school? What was the first thing that happened where you said, all right, this was the right decision to drop out?
It happened immediately, and it was because it wasn't it's not like I booked a job, but what I realized having left within like a week or two was I had been miserably depressed in college and hadn't known it.
Right.
Had been miserably sort of brought down by the acting program and hadn't known it.
Why do you think that?
Because there is, and this is, I think this is a much larger story that has yet to be told by anybody, which is that acting school and acting teachers do an incredible amount of psychological work that they are utterly unqualified to do.
I fucking agree. 5,472%.
Because so they set themselves up, and I don't think they're doing this maliciously, but they're setting themselves up as gurus.
Right.
And they are incapable. They don't have the training to deal with what they're unleashing within their students, most of whom are young people who are incredibly impressionable and desperately want to do whatever they have to do to progress.
Right, especially in the acting program.
Especially in a program that is largely taught by people who cannot get work and so teach.
Right.
Which isn't to say they're not talented, which isn't to say anything about their skills.
Right.
But these are people who haven't succeeded in their chosen profession and as a backup have begun teaching. And of course, those people in particular are going to be the ones who need that kind of gratification that they can only get from these students. It's a
these
very
desperate,
it's a very combustible experience. And it would not surprise me at all. And I'm not saying this happened. I'm not alleging this. But it would not surprise me at all to find out about sexual abuse in these programs.
Oh, please.
Or anything like that.
Of course.
Because
there's no boundaries.
There's no boundaries. And I think it's very dangerous. Now, what I would love to know is how, in particular, the British educate their actors, because they seem much more professional and much more grounded in craft than American actors, who are much more, or at least when I went to school, and I think it's still true.
That's very true. And more confident and not a lot of bullshit.
It doesn't seem like it.
Right.
Now, maybe it's just because we're seeing the best ones because they come over.
Right.
I don't know if there's just like a class of unemployed, shitty British actors.
Come on, how many actors do you know? Like, I studied with blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I mean, without blah. And even on their speeches, I just want to thank... so brave. If I hear the word brave one more fucking time on an acceptance speech, I know.
It's my absolute favorite. Thank you for being so brave.
So brave.
Fuck you. What did you do? You put on a wig.
Right.
Shut up.
And you acted like a gay person? Oh my God. It's ridiculous. So brave. That's so true that they prey on that's how they get, and it's like what Trump does too.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like, I don't want to say they're praying because I don't think there's malicious intent, but I think they're
taking advantage of.
They're just putting these kids in a situation that is untenable, and I was in that situation and didn't know it until I left and realized.
And they know so much personal shit about you.
Exactly.
That you don't. It's like.
And it's irrelevant to the work. It's utterly irrelevant.
Right.
But American kids in particular, I don't know how it is anywhere else, but American kids are taught to expose themselves and sort of illuminate everything about themselves and get everything out about themselves.
Right.
And I think the idea is almost like with a soldier, we're going to strip you down psychologically and build you back up.
Right.
But there's no process for building you back up. They know how to destroy you psychologically. They don't know how to build you back up.
So how did you find out or figure out you were depressed?
It was clear to me upon leaving and having this sort of emotional cloud start to lift that I had been in a really dark place and hadn't really known it.
And what was your first job that you got after?
Well, the reason I left college...
Because you got a job.
In a manner of speaking. My friend and I got hired to be stunt turtles for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle coming out of our shell tour. So we would be promotional turtles. We would
great.
We would travel ahead of the main company.
Right.
And go to...
Malls,
Pizza Huts. They were a sponsor. TV stations, do the weather.
Right.
Radio stations in the morning would come in the fucking turtle costume on the radio.
Wait, on the radio you wore the turtle costume?
That's right. To help the DJs, I guess, with the illusion.
Fucking ridiculous. And then how did they fly? Did they fly you?
No,
did you
they gave us a van. They gave us
Who was
a
the
Chevy
other person?
Astro. My good friend Ben Grant.
Oh, wow.
Who has subsequently gone on to have a tremendous career as a screenwriter and actor and creator of television shows. They gave us a van. They gave us a Chevy Astro and basically said, meet me in Milwaukee in 3 days.
St. Louis. That's movie. Beat me in St. Louis, Michael. Go ahead.
I like when you say that. You look to my side. You're not looking at me when you say it. You're looking off to the fictitious Michael.
Because I'm in another room.
Oh, I see.
She's trying to get you
you're
down
yelling,
to... Yes.
Right, you're yelling.
Michael,
you're yelling from the den.
Yes.
Right. Michael!
Get out of your room!
Meet me in St. Louis is on! You know what my mother used to do that really used to make me laugh? She would look at a menu when we would go to a restaurant, and she would point out the thing that she thought I would like and tell me, Michael, they have the chicken fingers. I don't know why both of us have my mother doing that kind of accent.
Yeah.
My mother did not do that at all.
No, really.
Michael, they have chicken fingers.
Michael, they have chicken fingers. You know, my mother used to, like, if I was really upset or we got in a fight or something, she'd do this thing where she'd stand at the bottom of the stairs and be, do you want me to make you some, I'm like, no, I'm not hungry. Judith, I have some blah, blah, cookies. I'm like, you know.
That sounds very Jewish to me. Ring the bell. Ring the goddamn bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
Let me assuage you with food.
So you're feeling depression. And acknowledging it, which is really good. And your mother, I mean, the fact that when your mother came out as lesbian, her parents Made her go through shock therapy.
No, not exactly. Kind of. She didn't. She hadn't come out.
Right.
The story goes.
Okay.
When my mother was a sophomore.
See, this is why it's fake news.
Right.
Because they take things.
Don't they?
And it's like, just tell the whole fucking story.
They muddle it the way my mother would muddle a story.
Right.
She was a sophomore in college. She'd been babysitting for this couple in Indiana University.
That's where my son goes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I like Bloomington.
Yeah, Bloomington's great. Have you ever performed at the Comedy?
I have.
Isn't it the best?
I like it a lot.
I got to call him.
They have chicken fingers.
Michael, I ordered you the chicken fingers. Okay, go ahead.
Now, it's the story is a little fuzzy because she herself didn't quite remember it.
Right.
For reasons that we'll get into.
Right.
What I've been able to piece together is she spent a lot of time with this couple when she was in high school, and she used to babysit their kids. When she was in college, they asked her to come back. They were going to go away for a long weekend. Would she babysit the kids? My mother, I think, was homesick. My mother was unsure of herself.
Right.
I think in the course of that weekend, or maybe subsequently, she'd been building up in her mind that she had fallen in love with the wife of this couple. I think. Now, I'm piecing all this together.
It's a really good screenplay. Go ahead.
What I think happened is she spent this weekend with the kids. And clearly, you play the wife. Yeah. They came back from their weekend jaunt. I think my mother, sort of in a very public way, confessed her love for this woman. They didn't know what to do. They called my mom's parents.
Right.
And my mom's parents took her to the hospital where she underwent shock therapy. Now, this is all me piecing things together because my mother said that the shock therapy wiped her memory.
Right.
Basically up until that point. And so for the rest of her life, like, she wasn't sure kind of what was real in her memory or what was sort of implanted by other people telling her what had happened about things. So she doesn't remember that episode especially, but it makes sense. All the pieces kind of come together in a way that makes sense.
Wow, what a good idea to give her shock therapy.
Yeah,
because I think that's
that works really well.
Yeah. Usually shock therapy is like just short-term memory you lose, but I guess.
And I did a little research.
Right.
Now this is all from my book.
Right.
And I interviewed my mom for the book.
Yes, I know. I love that. Go ahead.
And subsequently did research about this. And apparently in some cases you can lose more of your memory.
Wow.
And there was a quote that I found that really stuck with me. A nurse who herself had shock therapy, and she described it as, and I'm quoting, a rape of the soul.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, that's brutal. That's really brutal.
Don't you want to kill her parents? Or you understand their...
I think from their point of view, in the early 1960s, their daughter comes home from college, has this episode, and this was the treatment.
Right.
I think it was just a different time and they didn't know how to deal with it.
Right. Wow.
But my mom was furious at her parents for years as a result, because of course she was.
Of course. So she quit. She dropped out of college as well.
She ended up leaving college,
Right.
And
she became a store owner.
She
was in Old Bridge.
Yes.
Old Bridge, New Jersey. Oh, yeah. I know that area. Michael, I know that area. So, okay. So you're a frog.
Yeah. Turtle,
whatever the fucking, an amphibian. And
now let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I being delightful enough? Because
oh my God, I fucking love you.
I don't know. You get on a comedy podcast and you feel a pressure to be funny.
But why
I don't want to be
comedy.
You said it at the start of the thing. You said it's a comedy podcast.
Only because we were talking about our dead parents.
Right.
Which is tragedy. Comedy comes from tragedy plus time.
She just died, Judy.
Sorry.
She just died.
I have a yahrzeit candle burning in my house because my father died. It was his yahrzeit last night.
I don't know what a yahrzeit is. You can unring the bell. You can unring the bell.
It's the anniversary of the death, and you light a memorial candle that lasts for 24
I thought
hours.
that had a different name.
Kaddish is when that's the prayer.
I thought,
but the date is yahrzeit. So my father died 27 years ago when I was 27. So now I begin the period of time where I've had my father. The less than my half of. All right. Anyway, whatever.
My aunt Roz, grand cousin Ron, had a Yorkshire, the cutest little dog.
Oh, they are so
adorable.
cute.
Adorable.
They, and they're very friendly, the Yorkshites, and they love to sleep. That's what I love. They're very quiet.
Yeah, slept forever. It seemed like forever.
You don't have to walk the Yorkshire dog either.
No.
And they don't pee or shit. That's what I love about them.
No. It's almost like they're not there.
This has been one of my favorite episodes of Kill Me Now. Thank you so much, Michael Ian Black. And as we always say, so long!
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.